What's up and welcome. I am Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer from South Africa. In this video, I want to introduce you to the component analysis and design. If the term is new to you, it's also new to me. I recently thought about it in few days ago. I have extracted the term from object-oriented analysis and design. As I'm getting into learning React, I'm starting to see that the approach that we are taking as YouTube developers, teachers, and tutors, to me, it's wrong and it doesn't feel right. What do I mean by that? Whenever we think of coding, we think of Visual Studio Code, we think of if condition and else and arrays. But if you look at it, if you talk about corporate design and development, you start to get into thinking, designing, planning, architecture, and engineering. As YouTube coders, these are the things that we don't supply. It means that in the development hierarchy, we teach people only to sit here, meaning that you will only be a coder. As you can see in this list, coding is the last part. Without wasting time, let's just jump straight into it. What am I hoping you will gain in this video? Number one, I'm hoping that you will gain the thought process to think like an architect and to think like an engineer. In terms of React skills, after we have designed this component, we are going to make it a compound component. Which compound component? It's some sort of a topic that the industry has deemed as advanced. This is coded design. We don't have advanced topic. To us, once you say a topic is advanced, it means that you lack the sufficient skills and understanding to explain it to a new beginner. With coded design, there is nothing we cannot explain. So let's get into it. So in this video, as I've told you, we are going to get into component analysis and design. So let's briefly talk about the development process. Let's say, what are the things that are involved in development? As I've mentioned, coding, it's some sort of a smaller part of the whole uh, product. Okay, so in coding, graphic design, or maybe somebody else might say user interface design, it's important. In this video, we're just going to brush through it, through this graphic design part of things, meaning that we're just going to create a quick mock-up of what we are going to create. And what we are going to create from this poster, it's a product card. Okay, so graphic design is going to be part of it. Architecture is going to be part of it, meaning that we're going to get into architecture. Engineering, it's going to be part of it, and coding is to be part of it. What is interesting and most valuable about this video is that as I am working designing this component, I am going to tell you that now we are on the graphic design aspect. This is how we are going to think. This is how this arrangement or this graphic design layout is going to help us when we get into the architectural part, engineering, and coding. Okay, and also when I'm into the architectural part, I'm going to tell you that this is architecture. This is an architectural skill. When I'm in the engineering aspect of it, I'm going to tell you that this is engineering. Okay, so what is it that we are supposed to produce or we are supposed to do? Okay, the requirement here, the client has asked us to design a product card. Okay, this product card must be highly reusable and maintainable. Okay, meaning that we must be easy for us to just copy and paste and don't have to change the code. And also, when we have to change the code, it must be very, very easy. Okay, step number one, let me change all the colors and make everything black. And let's start with the graphic design part. This is where we are. Okay, so we are creating a simple product card. As you can see, okay, it's going to be a square what I would like to do, I would like to have it a border radius. Okay, so, and then in terms of colors, I would like, let me sample this color. Okay guys, as you can see, we are getting there. We are creating a product card. In fact, we are going to use a product card as a general easy to understand term. Okay, but in essence guys, this is an information product, so it feels like a service card than a product card, because this is not something that is we're going to sell physically like a Samsung phone, and Apple, or whatever. Okay, this is a service. What service it is? This is a 10-hour coaching course that I am offering. In case you are stuck with something, you want to learn specifically that thing, this is where I engage with you in the 10-hour coaching course. Okay, obviously I'm going to show a video in the background to show you where do you go when you want to take that 10-hour coaching course. Okay, as you can see guys, we are done with the background of our product card. Where we are now, remember, we are in the graphic design. Okay, so let's say the client said we are going to have what can I say, some sort of a price. Okay, the price is going to be here. Okay, we are going to always have a price here. Okay, let me copy. This is the price. Okay, let me just copy as it. Let me copy. Okay, this is the price. Okay, and then let's make it a color of white. As you can see, now we are making what can I say, these are the graphic design decisions that we are making. Okay, let's see if we can put a border here with the same color. Okay, and make it a little bit bigger. As you can see, doesn't look that great. Okay, that's not much of a problem. Let's leave this like this. Okay, so we have the price here. Okay, so in this product card, okay, obviously the price won't remain the same. Let's say it's 2 years from now, obviously I am going to change the price for the 10-hour coaching course. Okay, let's continue, and then we want the image. Okay, which is, this is my image. Let me send these to the back. Let me send these to the back. Okay, let me just make another copy of this, where I will take these objects. Okay, so as you can see, okay, let me put this here and see. Okay, as you can see guys, okay, this looks interesting. Okay, so this is me, Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer from South Africa. Okay, as you can see guys, we've got this image, okay, which is my image, and then this is the price. Okay, and then let's take instead of an image, let's see if this gold thing will work here. But if it doesn't work, we will not take it. Okay, let's see if it doesn't work. Okay, as you can see guys, the 10-hour coach, it doesn't really fit in here. Okay, that's not much of a problem. In terms of graphic design, we are also aiming for simplicity. Okay, so let's just simply type 10-hour coaching course. Okay, this is what we are about. Okay, this is what we are about. Okay, in case you might want what can I say, you are interested in the graphic design aspect, like in a technical sense, meaning that you want to learn Corel Draw, you can shoot a comment below, because here I'm not going to explain in details and the shortcuts what I'm doing. Remember, this is more like a coding video than the graphic design video, but I want to give you a 360 degrees, okay, of what is happening in the design and development, and also what are the things that we overlook as coders, which are very important. Okay, as you can see, guys, we are getting there. Okay, we've got our 10-hour. Okay, let me center this and center it. Okay. Okay, as you can see, guys, this is our 10-hour coaching course. Okay. It looks like we might need, but it's going to be a repetition. Let's see, guys, let's see what we can do. Okay, this space is too big. Okay. Okay, I think we might need this number 10. Don't we have it here? Okay, we don't have it. Okay, we might need this number 10. Okay, we might need this number 10. Okay, this 10-hour, we might need it. Okay, because I'm starting to see our design, it's empty. Okay, as you can see, there's a lot of space here, there's a lot of wasted space here, but what we can do, we can just make use of this 10-hour. Okay, that means if 10-hour is already there, then we just need to put here a coaching course. Okay, and then let's align this to the left. Okay, 10-hour coaching course, this looks better for me. Okay, let me try to make coaching bigger. Okay, also let me separate these. Okay, try to separate these, and then okay, increase that space. Okay, guys, I'm happy with this. Group, Control G. Okay, group it and let's center it. Okay, guys, as you can see, we are getting there. Our product card, it's looking somewhat okay. Okay, now let's take a description, okay, of what it is. Okay, okay, as you can see, the design before, it was more like colorful. Okay, it was more colorful, but now we are going to mute it a little bit. Okay, so this division line, I'm just some sort of creating a separation. Okay, separating the information. Okay, that means the heading from the content or from the description, because now below this line I'm going to describe what the coaching course is. Okay, okay, and then let me make it muted. Okay, I'm happy with this. Okay, also, guys, you can achieve the same thing with Figma. Okay, and I would like to believe Figma, it's some sort of the best application for this. Okay, okay, a course tailored for your unique learning style. Okay, that's what I'm offering, guys. That's what I'm offering. And then, as you can see, my apologies about that, as you can see, it's colorful. Okay, the first thing that we are going to try to do, let's use the colors that are already here. Okay, and see what will happen. If not, then we're going to go for white. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with this. It makes sense to me. My apologies about that. Okay, and then what else? Okay, We're not going to put a lot of things. Let's just put the social media icons, and then we will be done. Okay, but I wish can be too white. As you can see, this black and red and all these colors, they don't look presentable. Okay, can't we take these? Let's see if we can take these icons. Okay, I'm happy with these icons, guys. I'm happy with this. Okay, I'm happy with this. Okay, I'm happy with this. Let me try one last thing. Okay, there is a design trend these days. Okay, I'm going to show you that design trend. Okay, more especially on cards, card component, UI card component. Okay, that design trend is this bottom strip. Okay, I'm going to show you now. Okay, okay, as you can see, what I'm going to do, I'm going to crop this shape. Okay, crop it like this. Let's do something like this. Okay, there is this trend in nowadays in user interface design. Okay, okay, let's see if it's going to fit. So in most cases, like in YouTube platform and other platform, this is being used as a progress bar. Okay, if there's something that is processing here, you will see this what can I say, moving from left to right. But as you can see, if we are going to have a background of white, this doesn't really apply. Okay, now we are happy with this, guys. We are done with the graphic design decisions. Okay, okay, let me just copy and paste this. Okay, clearly indicate that this is the graphic design part. This was graphic design and we are done with the graphic design. So we need to take this, maybe show it to the client. Okay, if the client is happy, then we can continue. Okay, let's just look at it. My apologies about that. Let's just look at it for the last time, guys, so that we can get to the next step. Okay, so we've got a product card. It has got an image, it has got some sort of a title, a description, and the icons. Okay, in terms of the icons, we are going to use any icons. Okay, since this is just a sample tutorial, like we're not going to, my apologies about that, so we're not going to take these icons specifically because it might take some time. Okay, I have to export these and then import them and all that jazz. Okay, of which is going to take time. So guys, we are done with the design, graphic design part. Okay, in the graphic design part, the most important thing, number one, it's the layout, how things are laid out, and also the spacing between elements. Okay, the space between elements, also the colors. Okay, how your colors are and all those things. Okay, now let's continue, guys. Let's get into the architecture. Okay, let me copy this. Now let's get into the architecture. Okay, when we talk about the architecture in this process, what are we talking about specifically? Okay, okay, let me make it bold, guys. My apologies about that, and then I'm done. Okay, now let's talk about the architecture. Okay, how is this card component going to work? Okay, how is it going to function? Okay, the client told us that number one, this amount of money is going to change. Okay, and this price must always be here. This price must always be here in this corner. Okay, and then in terms of all other elements, okay, let me quickly do that. Remember now, whatever that I'm doing, guys, I am not in the graphic design part, I'm in the architectural part. Okay, obviously I might arrange some design element, but I'm in the architectural part. Okay, this will always be here. Okay, the client said we must not move it, which is the price, but the client said time and again, okay, we might want to move these objects. Okay, for instance, this layout might be arranged differently. Okay, meaning that it might be arranged like this. Let me ungroup it. It looks like it's ungrouped. Okay, it might be arranged like this. Okay, you might see it, and then it might be arranged like this. Okay, might be arranged like this. Okay, with the picture or without the picture. Let's say without the picture. Okay, just for simplicity. Okay, apologies about that. Okay, as you can see, guys, okay, meaning that this might be version 1 of the layout, but the client want to be flexible such that if for some reason they want to create a different version of this, they can quickly create a different version of this. Okay, let's just quickly take it further. Remember, we are still under architecture. The reason why we are doing this, we want to make some architectural decision about this component, okay, based on functionality. Okay, my apologies about that, guys. Okay, based on functionality. Okay, maybe they also want to take it further and even end up with something like this. Okay, okay, so this shows, or it communicates the flexibility of this component. How flexible must it be? So under architecture, okay, remember this is the architectural area. Okay, we are busy with architecture in this section. Let me just highlight it like this, and then okay, like this. Then let me send it to the back. Then let me lock it. Let me remove the borders and let me lock it. Okay, lock it in position. Okay, guys, so my apologies about that. Okay, let me move this for clarity. Okay, okay, now guys, as you can see, this was the graphic design part. We're done with it. Now we are in the architectural part. Okay, as you can see, I think I've missed something here. Okay, but that is not much of a problem. Okay, at least you got the idea. I think there's an artwork that I've missed here. It has just disappeared. I don't know where it went. That's not much of a problem. You got the idea. This component must be flexible. We might remove the picture and only leave these. At some point, we might even remove everything and be only left with this. So meaning that this creates a an awesome dev experience. Okay, it's like here we are creating a library component. Okay, this is going to be used like a library component. That means other developers are going to come and want to use this component. Okay, so when they are using it, they want to have flexibility, they want to pass some props, and then it becomes what we want. Okay, so in terms of architecture, what are the two approaches to this problem? As you know that with React, okay, with React, you can have a component that accept props. This is the component, okay, and this component Okay, let me do this. Okay, so and this component, it's accepting props here. Okay, let me do it this way, guys, so that it can be clear. Okay, let me do it this way. Back minus front. Okay, this component accept the props here. Okay, it accept a prop. What do I mean it accept a prop? This means that we might have this component that will receive this text as a prop. It will receive this image as a prop. It will receive this description as a prop, and it will receive this icon as a prop. Okay, meaning that it will receive these different props. Okay, as you can see, guys, it's receiving these different props. Okay, after it has received these different props, it will display these different props accordingly, which is now they are already inside. Okay, as you can see, guys, I hope this is clear enough. Okay, these are the props. Okay, remember we are talking about the architecture. How are we going to arrange this component for so that it can suit or it can be fit for the purpose? Okay, so this is the first arrangement. This is the first frame. Okay, we are building a structure here. This is the first frame. Okay, we just have a component that receives props, but this is not going to be flexible enough. Okay, remember the requirement. We need to, it must be easy for us to remove and take things. Okay, now let's look at another architectural structure. Okay, this is the second architectural structure. Okay, now let's say another guy comes and say that no, guys, this can be better. Okay, this can be done better. Okay, apologies about that. This can be done better. Instead of going with this structure, we can go with a different structure. Okay, as developers, we asked, okay, present your case, how different that structure is. Okay, this guy said, number one, remember, this structure is not flexible. There is a condition that this price must always be here. Okay, with this, how are we going to solve that? Obviously, as we don't really know. And then the guy maybe points out that that is a problem. Okay, we need to take that into consideration. Okay, that this must be fixed here. Okay, secondly, it must be easy to maintain and modify. Okay, meaning the approach that I want us to take, it's more like a wise wig approach. What you see is what you get. Okay, how is that possible? We must, okay, I don't know what happened. My apologies about that. So we must design this component in such a way that, okay, let me use this. Put it next to this one. We need to design, actually my computer is misbehaving. Okay, my apologies about that, guys. We need to design this component in such a way that, okay, as a developer, okay, instead of passing props, you just put a tag there or you don't put it. For instance, let's say I want this image, okay? Meaning that as a developer, I will just put that component, which is the component image, okay, inside this frame. And then it will be here. Okay, it's like what can I say, it's like you are having an empty chart, okay, and some sticky note. In this empty chart you can put a sticky note of what you want. It's like a whiteboard. You can put something there and you can delete it. Okay, you can take it off and you can stick it there, as you can see. So this guy is convincing us that this approach, it's very easy because the other developer doesn't really have to know more about the props and if you didn't pass the prop and all those things. So let's create this like a compound component. Let it be what can I say, a component that is composed of other components. And those components which it's composed of, they must be some sort of, what can I say, not necessarily locked, okay, but they must be registered inside this component. This aspect or this part registered under this component, I'm going to explain it in a pseudocode, okay? Then this looks interesting to us. So you want to tell me that you want to this part, okay? As a developer, I can go to the code and just put it. Yes. And then the guy will continue and say, interestingly, you can even arrange your own components, okay? Rearrange, okay? Meaning that if we have this component, let me just change it a color, okay? This component and this one, the description, okay? We have this component and we have the description. What if maybe we want to make some arrangement, okay? This is simple. In the JSX or in our the mockup of our component, we can just take this component as it is and shift it here and move it here, and then here it will be rearranged accordingly, okay? It will be something like this, okay? So now as developers, we decide, okay, on taking, my apologies guys, okay, on as developers, we decide on taking this approach to be like, your approach looks simpler, okay? What does this mean? This means that we are making architectural decision, okay? It's like we are planning the structure, okay? Remember, we are not talking more about the states here. Are we going to use state? Are we going to use effect? People who only, what can I say, who are the coders only, they get into those details. But us here, we are thinking as architecturers, okay? We want to come up with a frame or a model, okay, that is best for the problem that we have. As you can see guys, we have chosen this approach to say that this compound component is going to work for us rather than passing a lot of props. Because somebody might ask, what if maybe the information that is going to be inside this card component is increasing? Do you mean that I am going to increase my number of props? Okay, that means I will increase the number of props that I'm passing here. As you can see guys, this is not a clean code, okay? And also, what if I've got a prop that I am not going to use in this container? Also, I'm not going to use in this one heading. Maybe I'm going to use it inside this paragraph, this component paragraph, okay, description. It means that I will pass this prop from here and only use it inside here, inside another component. So this is prop drilling, okay? As you can see that here we are not passing this prop into multiple levels, okay? We are not passing into multiple levels, which is, we might not consider this as prop drilling, okay? We might not consider, but I am just making an example. But there will be a case whereby you have to pass a prop from parent to a grandchildren, okay, to a grandchild. You are passing this prop from here, you are not going to use it 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 here, but you want to use it here. Then this becomes prop drilling, because you are drilling down props into multiple layers, multiple layers of like components, which it's a problem, okay? So if we can take this approach, it means that we don't have this. How this is going to be solved by this, okay? This new guy tells us that, look guys, we need to be smart here. Let's say we want to pass this prop to this component, okay? This means that we are not going to pass the prop in the container. As you can see, the container doesn't have an entrance for passing props. If it has, those props are only for the container. What about this child here? This child can receive its own props. As you can see, it's like what can I say? Let me just give it the name of prop distribution. Okay, not sure if that's the best English, but it's the best word I can think of. Meaning that this guy is saying, let's encourage the approach of distributing props to its corresponding components. Instead of pushing all the props here, no, let's just distribute these props according to the components that are going to use them. As you can see, guys, meaning that this component will take this prop when you are using it, and this container will take this prop when you are using it, and this one, it will take this prop. So now we were making architectural decisions. Okay, after we are done with the architecture, let's just go check to the list. We have to deal with the engineering side of things. Okay, the engineering side of things, it involves the logic. Okay, it involves what can I say, efficiency. It involves functionality. It involves some sort of the techniques in terms of code. Which technique are we going to adopt? Not the actual coding, but the technique. Okay, now that we know that we are going with this second version, okay, now let's get into the engineering part. Okay, I hope you are learning something, guys. If you are learning something, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Okay, let's say engineering. Okay, okay. If you've heard of a front end engineer, then now we are getting into that engineering. Okay, the engineering aspect. How is this method of explaining things or what I'm doing will help you or be beneficial to you? To be honest, guys, when I've learned from YouTube, I have failed my first interview. And I understand why. Simply because I was good at manipulating CSS and a little bit of JavaScript, but I didn't understand the concept. Okay, when I'm being asked about React concept, about DOM manipulation, when I'm being asked about DOM nodes, about elements, about what can I say, DOM traversal, I didn't know those things, because what I knew is that give me a problem, I will give you a solution. Remember, my solution didn't guarantee that it's an efficient solution. That's the problem of only being a coder. Okay, time and again in my comments or in the comments of my videos, I get people or student, which I understand, and I am not by all means mad at them. People who comment something along the lines of, I am 2 minute or 3 minute or 5 minute in your own video and you are not getting into the point. I understand those students. The point to them is coding. They want to see something. YouTube coders or YouTube as a platform, let me say YouTube coders, us as YouTube coders and developers, what we are selling to you, it's not high quality education, but what we are selling to you, it's wow, it's amazing, it's interesting. Okay, meaning that we show you graphics, we show you visuals. Okay, when I'm about to create a React course, okay, I must quickly get to the code as much as I can so that you can quickly see something, so that in the end you will feel like, how did he do that? Or wow, it's interesting, there are animations. Okay, those types of content, they get a lot of likes, but they don't teach you the concepts and the fundamentals. Okay, so if somebody say, can you get to the point? I do understand what they mean. The only thing that I always tell myself is that he is not the person that I'm looking for. Okay, he's not like the target. Okay, the target, which is in terms of my student or as a brand, as coded design, I'm looking for people who want to study coding on YouTube for work environment. I'm creating content that is geared towards work environment. Okay, not teaching you fancy React stuff which you are not going to use in the work environment. Let's continue, guys. So where were we? We are in the engineering side of things, engineering aspect. Okay, let's check what do we need to consider in the engineering aspect. Okay, in the engineering aspect, we need to know, what can I say, what tools are we going to use? Okay, what tools are we going to use? Number one, do we have states here? Okay, do we have something that maybe will change the information? Okay, as a result, when that information changes, and this has to change, okay, for the sake of this tutorial, okay, and explaining the engineering aspect, let's introduce the states. Okay, the state. Remember, the client said this it's going to change. Okay, meaning that 2 years from now this price will change. Okay, obviously 2 years it's too long. Okay, it won't be like practical in terms of the states that I want to introduce here, so that I can show you in details the engineering aspect of React, okay, or front end. Let's say now this price changes more frequently than 2 years. Let's say it changes according to the time of the day. In the morning, it's going to be different, or in the afternoon, it's going to be different, or it depends on what can I say, what's in the API. Okay, that means you have to fetch some data in the API. If that data has changed, that state has changed, it means that this price has to change. Now we are getting into the engineering. Okay, let's say this is the this is the element. Okay, what can I do to represent states? Let me do this. Okay, something like this. Okay, this is too big. Okay, let's say price state. Okay. Mm, price state. Okay, meaning that we've got a price state here. What can I do? Let me just use this. Okay, okay, guys, we've got my apologies about that. We've got a price state here. That means this is the data that will be changing. Okay, we've got a price state. Okay, for this. Now, and as engineers, we need to make these decisions. Okay, is this state variable going to be inside this component? Let me do it like this. Okay, or it's going to be outside the component. Okay, I hope you are getting the engineering aspect of it. This type of discussion or this type of pre-planning makes it seamless for you, or it helps you to create an efficient code. Okay, with React, the first problem that you are going to encounter as a new beginner, it's the re-renderings. Okay, because you are not clued up with React. Okay, you will do things in a certain way. The first thing that you're going to encounter is performance. Okay, your components will re-render, and sometimes React will tell you that there are multiple re-renders. As a result, it ran to an error. Okay, that is going to be the challenge that you are going to face. Okay, too many re-renders. Okay, so this thinking, okay, this engineering aspect, it helps you with minimizing those re-renders based on the architecture and the engineering. Okay, as you can see, this is how these things work together. Okay, now are we going to put this state here, or we are going to put this state here? and pass it here as a prop. Okay, maybe somebody might ask, the state, it's the state, what's the difference? Okay, obviously as a new beginner you don't really know the difference, and in honesty you don't care much, because as long as it works, as long as you can see something. Okay, let me tell you the difference. First of all, if this component owns its own state, okay, own its own state, that means it's not a controlled component. Okay, that means it controls its own things. Okay, if we push this state to the parent, now this parent becomes a controlled component because it doesn't manage its own state. Okay, now let's talk about the difference. Let's say this application is big. Okay, this is Facebook, let's say. Okay, these these pieces or these shapes, okay, this rectangle, they are just representing a big project or a big application. Okay, these are different components, they are doing different things. Okay, obviously here we are talking about React. Okay, we are React developers. Okay, now this is how I want you to think about React. Okay, the re in this word React, okay, always think of it as re-rendering. Okay, because React, it's all about states and re-rendering components. Okay, specific components. Okay, so whenever you think of React, think of this re as re-rendering. So as a React developer, you need to minimize the re-renderings as much as you can. You don't have to re-render. Obviously, the computer might seem fast and it can re-render everything, even if you've re-rendered all the elements in your page. Okay, but that's not the best way of doing things. Okay, so think of re as re-rendering, or let's come up with a term. Re is for re-rendering. Okay, so if you put the state here, React will always re-render, okay, the container or the component that contains a state. It means that if this state is here, the parent will re-render, including its all other modules which have got nothing to do with this. What's the problem? It's performance. Okay, let's say here we're fetching data from Amazon. Here we've got an async task that does something else, maybe cropping images. Here we've got something else here, meaning that if this state is here, all of these will re-render just because of a state which has got nothing to do with them. If you push the state to this component, when this state changes, it's only this component that will re-render, which is fine, because now in this application as components, we are only minding our own business. If you have changed the state, we are not going to re-render for you, meaning that the system is just going to only re-render this part. Guys, this is React engineering. Remember, we're not coding here. Okay, such discussion, thought process, and planning is the one that is needed. Okay, it's not only needed by the employers or by what can I say, by enterprise development, but even for you as a developer. I would like to believe if you've joined the company as a, what can I say, as a junior, in order for you to be promoted or to assume higher position, at least you must be able to plan and think like an architect and an engineer. My apologies, and I'm sorry about this. you won't find this skill in a clone. WhatsApp, let's create a WhatsApp clone, let's create a Facebook clone, let's create an Amazon clone. It's a new build, it's interesting. And in most of those videos, you will see those developers with their faces and their mouth wide open like Mr. Beast, okay? Meaning that it's all about likes, okay? Now let's continue, guys. So we need to think, if we've got a state, where do we put the state? Do we put the state in this object, or we put it outside the object? Okay, it's tempting. Obviously the best way is to put it inside here, okay, meaning that this component must manage its own state. But guys, that is not sometimes always the right solution. Hence, we need to test and think about it. Let's say we've got a state here. When you are using this component in another client code, okay, it will have its own state. Okay, how is this state going to be updated? Okay, meaning that, let's say this state depends on a fetch, okay, on an API fetch. Okay, it means that if we are going to take this state and put it here, it needs to go along with a fetch state, with a fetch mechanism, or let's say an API call, because this what updates the state or what changes, it's the, what can I say, the API call. Okay, so now we are starting to, okay, add an API call here. Okay, now let's go back again, because this is engineering. Okay, let's go back to solid principles. Okay, let me just type solid. Okay, according to the solid principle, the S is for single responsibility. Okay, a component must do one and only one thing. This approach looks well in terms of rendering, but it violates the solid principle, meaning that now this component is responsible for being a component which is what can I say, a card component, okay, or a product component, but at the same time it's responsible for fetching data. This is a problem. Now it does two things at the same time. Though, as I've told you, though it might be tempting to put this component as a component that owns its own state, but we must look at the consequences and, what can I say, what we have to compromise. It means that now this component not only has to become a component, okay, but it must also fetch the data from the API. As for me, I've got a problem with that, because it's going to fetch the data from a specific endpoint, let's say coded design coaching course endpoint. What if I want to reuse this component to on a different application? Meaning that not only I have to copy the component, I have also to copy the API functionality, and I have to copy that endpoint. As you can see, guys, now thinking about this component becomes convoluted. It's like now we are starting to get into other things which we are not supposed to, okay? So this means that we need to take this state, okay? This component must not be aware of its own data. It must consume it, okay? It must consume the data, which is the price. Where is the price coming from? This component is not supposed to know, because it's not its major responsibility, okay? Where is this information or price coming from? It's none of its business. How it's being fetched, it's none of its business, okay? So meaning that by taking away the API call to a relevant place, it might happen we are not even going to do the API call in the client side, in the browser side. Maybe we might do a an API fetch in the server, which is the server is quicker, it's faster than the client. Okay, that's why we have to some sort of defer the API call to another module. Then, as a conclusion, we end up saying, okay, guys, because of that, let's create this component as a controlled component. It's going to have a state which is controlled by the parent, okay? And then the state will be passed to it, okay? Meaning that as soon as this state changes, let's say for some reason, the client code did an API call and the price has changed, this will update automatically as the day goes. Maybe in the morning, it will be this amount of money. When we've got specials, according to a certain period, we can do all those changes and specials and whatever outside. This component is only concerned about as soon as this data changes, as soon as this price data changes, I will update it. Okay, guys, this part, it's the engineering part. It has got nothing to do with the code, but intelligent and smart way of doing things, smart way of thinking things through. So if you learn coding from YouTube, believe me, you are not a boardroom guy. You cannot convince other fellow coders or the stakeholders as to why have you created this and why. Okay, why have you chosen this approach? Okay, and that is a problem. So here at Coded Design, I want to equip you with tools for thinking. Okay, tools for presenting yourself, tools for presenting your case, tools for helping you to think about what you are doing. Okay, I hope you get that one. Okay, maybe if you don't get it, let me explain it this way. Okay, some people, they code to solve problems. At Coded Design, we don't do that. We don't code to solve problems. We code to help our mind to think better about what we are doing. Okay, you don't code to solve problem, because when you code to solve problem, you are going to always expect yourself to come up with perfect and working solutions at the get-go. The reason why we are coding, I am helping myself to think better and understand the problem. Because if I'm staring at it, standing away, and I'm not coding, okay, maybe I might not get other things, okay, the essence, the problem domain, I might not understand it. The reason why I'm getting into code, I want to help myself to think better. So if I'm in code and I'm looking at something, a code smell or something that can be improved, I always roll back to engineering, make some changes, or roll back to architecture and make some changes. I hope you get the idea. Okay, guys, that is the engineering part. Let's go back to our module. Okay, we are done with the graphic design. We are done with the architecture. We are done with the engineering. Now let's get into coding. Obviously, coding will require Visual Studio Code. Guys, I hope this has been, my apologies about that. I hope this has been helpful. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. You have seen what decisions which are made by a graphic designer and why. And when the graphic designer is finished, it will take that to the development team. The development team needs to plan around what the client wants. Okay, maybe the designer, the UI UX designers, the designer team, they were dealing directly with the client, and the client told them that I like these colors, I want this, I want the price to be here. Then when that is done, and then that will be taken to the development team, and then the development team will need to think about it, structure it, and then continue with architecture and engineering. And then from then, I can take this presentation to a guy that is in United States, in China, in India, in Nigeria. That guy will code this according to what I told him. The intelligence is not with the guy, but the guy, it's the extension of my hands. The guy, the coder, will be doing something that I cannot do because I don't have time. Okay, but the actual intelligence is coming from me. He doesn't know why I've decided to put the state on a client code or on the actual code. He doesn't really know that, but what he knows is that the state must be there. I'm Matthew Msingati, the designer and developer from South Africa. If you feel like this video has added value into your overall understanding of front-end architecture, graphic design, and engineering, please guys, do me a favor. The best thing that you can do for me is to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. In case you are stuck, I can get you unstuck with a 10-hour coaching course. This is where I solve your unique problem. Instead of giving you a video, a course with 60 videos, whereas the only videos that add value to what you are facing, it's only two, meaning that that's value lost. So in the 10-hour coaching course, I sit down with you, you tell me where you want to go, and I will take you exactly to where you want to go. I'm Matthew Msengati, the designer and developer, signing out. This is Coded Design. Let's code badly with pride because it starts there. See you on the next one.